I can see the stars align, dance around the moon every night. And now my eyes are open wide, and the sky has never looked so bright. And I don't need to see the road to believe, yeah. 'Cause this is where I'm meant to be, I believe. And I feel the magic everywhere. It's all around us, it's in the air. And I see the magic we can share. So much wonder everywhere. And I feel the magic, ooh. Can you imagine, ooh. And I feel the magic, ooh. Can you imagine, ooh. And I feel the magic. It's all around us. And I feel the magic. It's all around us. There's wonder on this winding road in front of me, yeah. 'Cause I'm right where I'm supposed to be. And I feel the magic everywhere. It's all around us, it's in the air. And I see the magic we can share. So much wonder everywhere. And I feel the magic, ooh. Can you imagine, ooh. And I feel the magic, ooh. Can you imagine, ooh. And I feel the magic. It's all around us.
Good evening, Karen, Jean, and Linda. Fast off the bat tonight. Oh my, look at that sun-kissed I have got here going on. Karen, that is a beautiful greeting. Thank you very much. And of course, having a Spirit Seekers Society, I really appreciate the Soul Seekers reference. And yes, it is a lovely one, isn't it, Jane? Hi, Linda Gold. Good to see you here early with us this evening. How is it in your part of the country this week? And I must also say a good evening to everyone that will be watching afterwards, because you know that when you register, and this is the reason, one of the reasons for registering, is you can then watch the replays at your own leisure. Whilst you, hi Cat Gray, while you can't interact, you can at least watch. Like Jo's joining us this evening, and she missed out last week on a great show. I know that she would have loved it. So hello to everyone that will be watching the replay. And I do anticipate that some of our West Australian audience may not join us tonight. I know Lisa's not very well, so sending big hugs and lots of healing kisses to Lisa. And I know that our dear Jackie is away for a farewell of a young member of her family. So thinking of both Lisa and Jackie this evening for very different reasons. It is extremely hot over here this week in Perth and the surrounds, even in the southwest where I've just got back from this afternoon. And yes, I've been out sunning and beaching and just having a much needed rest. Simply lazy on the beach and swimming with dolphins, beautiful visits from dolphins. Oh, it was glorious. So it's not normally very, very hot in our southwest, but oh boy, it's a cooker down there this week as well. So the heat is really getting around the place here. And Linda's saying continually blocked through rain and cloudy days, total opposite to us, Linda, and not good for your psyche like that either. Good evening, Kim Jane. Lovely to have you here this week. Oh, that's lovely, Karen Mack. Thank you. So, yeah, very hot down there, and it's been in the 40s up here. So I know that some of our West Australian audience, we actually have problems with the internet when it's too hot. And I must say, it makes me laugh because one thinks that, you know, the technology makes us so advanced. This, you know, 5G, 4G, whatever, and having electric cars, blaming the cows. So we have to have electric cars, never mind what the electric cars require to run. But all of these things, and everybody thinks that, pardon me, not everybody thinks that we have advanced so much. As a species, we have not. And Joe knows that's a favourite topic of mine. And some of the things that I'm going to talk to you about tonight that I was asking this morning in meditation by the beach, what would Spirit like to bring forward? And it was a really cool what they want to bring forward to you today. Also, you too, Jean. Yeah. Also, the book that I referenced some weeks ago, Many Masters and something, that a psychiatrist that wrote about the awakening that he experienced through taking one of his patients who also worked at the same hospital or university where he was working. And he was helping her with severe anxiety and all associated things with that. And through the episodes of hypnosis with her, she was going back to different lives and able to explain all of her situation, what she looked like, her family members, what was being experienced. And what he found most intriguing was that she would talk through her, you know, I don't like the word death, but she would talk through her death. For me, over my years of service with the heavens messengers through to seekers in this physical world, to read of her description of the in-between time, it just makes me smile from ear to ear. So she references it as in-between time. And then there is another space of time where she is bringing through and speaking. The masters is what she and the psychiatrist refer to, these different voices that come through. So when she goes to a certain part of the in-between realm, which is where I explain it as being like hospital in heaven, and everything that has been a distortion on the soul is cleansed away, and all burdens of this life in the physical is healed. So that is the same as she was talking about the in-between time, only she also references being in a time of waiting to come back to a different body, waiting to come back to a different life. And then all of a sudden, her behavior, he describes that her breathing changes, her focus changes, and her voice will change. And he has asked, who is this? And he is told it is a master. She tells him it's a master that has come to speak. And in one part of the book, he asks the master, what can he do to help his patient named Catherine? And the master says, you already are doing as you need. What I'm telling you is for you. So through Catherine, he gets to have the experience of a direct speak, which we call channeling, which she could not do when she was not hypnotized. In fact, she was terrified of anything that she didn't understand outside of the physical. So for me, reading this, it was really fascinating and did bring me a lot of smiles. But talking about the master saying that the messages he was imparting were for the psychiatrist. They weren't for the patient. Yeah, it was Kat. It was amazing. It is amazing. And for me, I don't require confirmation. You know, a lot of people question what they receive or what they hear, or even in a reading, they'll question it because they're not connected to their soul. They're not aligned. And that is the topic that I was asked to present tonight. Sorry, I'm just listening. It's the effect of harmony and alignment on your life. And it's really, really very beautiful and very interesting. So with this lady, Catherine, in the hypnotic state and being able to bring through the masters, she actually brought in 3 different masters, and they were of different levels as well. Now, for myself, I have sat with the Grand Council, but I sat with them in a time of deep mourning, deep resentment, wanting to go home. I didn't want to stay in this world because of the work I'd been doing, and I'd come home from a funeral of a young mother of 2 little girls. And I had been working with that young mother and made so much inroad. Her healing was amazing. Her oncologist could not believe the absence of the tumours that were in her brain, the great big one that had been on her liver, the ones that were on her spine. And he said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because I don't know how this is happening. And then she came to a point where she said to me, Gwenda, I just can't do this. And I said to her, you can't or you won't. And she said, I can't. I just can't. And her husband was a non-believer, and he called me, and when I heard who he was, I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting. And he actually asked me to go and see her in the hospice. And I said, in the where? When I had seen her 2 weeks before, she'd come so far forward and was looking amazing. And then I went away for work, and and I came back, he said, in the hospice. So I would go and do healing for her in the hospice. And he rang me again and he said, listen, lady, I don't know what it is that you do, but I can't describe and I can't explain to anyone the changes in my wife after you've been to see her. So eternally hopeful and knowing that healing is available, I persisted, and then I had to go away for work again. And when I got on the plane, when I last went to her before I went away, I said to her, don't you go anywhere. Don't you go anywhere while I'm gone. And she said, no. And then I got on the plane to come home, and I've never been a reader of the newspaper. And the newspaper was on the next seat on the plane, and I was told to open it. So I pick it up and I open it, and it goes straight to the obituaries, and there's her notices. I cried and cried all the way home. I couldn't believe it. I was devastated. And I was invited to her farewell, and it just broke my heart, and I did not want to continue my work. It was more than I could cope with, trying to understand this world, this physical existence, and all the pain that is in it that people experience. So I sat with the Grand Council that night and demanded that they let me out of here and take me home, and that I would no longer be serving in this world. As you can see, my request was not taken seriously, and they did not let me go home. So here we are. That isn't the only experience I've had with talking to what some people call the masters, and as you know, connection with different beings. So reading in this book, Jean, the author is Dr. Brian Wise, W-E-I-S-S. Dr. Brian, W-E-I-S-S. Thanks, Jean. So that book, for me, reading it has been, as I said, make me smile from ear to ear, and really I can say that what Catherine talks about and she experiences, there is no dishonesty in it whatsoever, because I've seen what she talks about, and I've been to what you would call the gates of heaven. I've had interesting interactions with who the Bible says is St. Peter meets you at the gates of heaven. Well, it's not St. Peter I've met, it's St. Paul. And he's a cranky piece of goods when you're not supposed to be there. And that's what he said to me. What are you doing here? And, oh, Kim Jane, you're too kind. Thank you. Oh, okay, Linda. So have you read it again recently? You bought it some years ago. Did you read it, and have you read it again recently? It really is worth the read. And I will now, once I've finished it, I will just go back and open it at random spots and see what comes forward. You're welcome, Jean. It is good, very good. And as I say, having experienced what Catherine talks about, having still working with the masters, with the ascended masters, with the archangels, with other beings, it's wonderful to read a true account of things. So, yeah, get it if you can. And otherwise, let's just rock with what they want to bring forward. And was there something else in that that Catherine spoke about, or the master spoke about? Oh, yes. So one thing that I have said for a long time, and I say in my teachings, is there will never be peace on this realm, on this earth. There will never be harmony between all mankind in this realm. And a lot of so-called spiritual people will put me down, try to discredit me, have their say. And even ordinary people who are not gifted, for want of a better word, who are not living a soul-aligned life, will challenge me on that, and therefore think that I am not, a spiritual person. Well, as you all know, I'm not a woo-woo spiritual person. I'm not a fluff and nonsense. I've had far too many experiences with spirit, with entities, with demons, with malevolent spirit, and there are these other spiritual people that will tell you that they don't exist. Well, that's garbage. In a word, absolutely. So for me to read someone else's account and then to see the message from one of the masters. Now, this book was first written in 1988. And here in 1988, or it would have been before that, because the doctor wrote the book after the fact. So maybe around 1986, somewhere around there. And here we have a master saying there will never be harmony in this realm, because mankind does not evolve enough while here. There will be harmony and there will be peace for those who leave this realm and go to the next. And when everything comes back around to the time of revelations, those who have left will be able to see the changes on this earth. And those, of course, who have come to a place of being in harmony and alignment with their divine self, alignment with the divine, they too, whether they are here or whether they are on the next realm, they will see what takes place here. And I have said that for over 40 years. So for me to read this, that it's come through from a master, I was just like, why didn't I write a book about that? So it's wonderful. It's wonderful to see these things in print, especially when it is from a place that is authentic and it is true. So in the meantime, things that affect our harmony and our alignment, you may be surprised that we have these behaviors, very simple behaviors that affect our ability to be in harmony and be aligned. So Kim Jane's just saying, if there's never complete peace and harmony here, then at least we won't feel disappointed. Unrealistic expectations. You could put it that way, Kim Jane. Yep, you could put it that way. But also there's some fabulous things in what you've written there. And the fact is, most often our expectations and our attachments are very unrealistic. And really, as you've heard me talk before, everything here is an illusion, therefore it's unreal. So why are we here? Why do we come? Why do we turn up to this realm? Well, for the experiences, for soul growth, for soul expansion. And then what happens is we become very disillusioned. There's one of those non-whole words. We become very caught up in the illusion. We become very caught up in family ties, family requirements, family behaviors. And also from the time of 0 to 7, and even before 0, we are so very easily impressed upon, and we have forgotten who we are and forgotten our soul. So to my mind, it's a bit rude. We come here, and then when we get here, we don't have a little book of reference. We don't have something tattooed on us to go, oh, don't go there. Instead, we get all caught up in the soup of here. And that is where all illness and disease and or the being out of harmony, out of balance, out of alignment, is where it all begins. You know, there's a lot of talk about your genes and your genetic, well, this is genetic, this is hereditary. The real scientists are proving over and over, and have done for eons, that that is not true. What I call that is genetic stamping and intergenerational gifting. And it's not yours. So you can actually break all of those ties, all of those impressions and imprints that have been put on you. You can break them. But you know what's really interesting about the human behavior? Oh, but then I might not be like my family and I want to fit in. Great cost. Great cost. People love to revel in being able to say that, and this sounds terrible, but next time you are listening to someone talk this stuff, you will hear what I'm saying. There is like some kind of badge to be able to wear. People are very enthusiastic to talk about the diseases and illness that runs in our family. And it's almost like this is my way of identifying myself. This is a way for me to know that I fit in with my gene pool. I fit in with my family. And that's really sad, don't you think? It's also not true. What is really sad is the want to fit in so much, the want to be accepted so much, that we will take on anything so that we fit in with our family. Family are very important, don't get me wrong. However, forfeiting who you are for anyone is not what your soul came for. So when we are given the gift of incarnating into this experience, into this physical world, we do choose the family, we do choose the experiences. But the trick is that when we get here, we have become removed from our truth, and we believe in what we can see and feel and hear as being it, being that's what we're here for. And so when you hear things all the time through the family relayed over and over, when you're in vitro and then between 0 and 7, it becomes a part of who you believe yourself to be. And it's so not true. So not true. If, for example, you are a light worker and you have this really strong pull to want to know more about who you really are, and you just know that there's something else, but your family has got a lot of issues. Maybe there is a lot of sickness. Maybe there is a lot of habitual ways of living, smoking, drinking, drugs. Maybe there's abuse. So then you hear me say you chose that and you're only here for the experiences, and those things are not who you are. And you'd be like, well, why would I choose a family like that if, I'm a divine being and I'm of the divine? Why would I land myself there? Why? Because you come to heal it. You come to be the one to shine the light. Imagine this world. Imagine what this world would be like if there was no light workers, if there were no souls that came to really shine the light of the divine, the light of their own divinity. There has to be healing. And this is the only way that when you move through those transitional stages, leaving this world, going on to another and coming back to another life, there must be a way of reckoning. There must be a way of being able to move beyond what has been experienced and transcend that. So when you look around and you see children that are gravely ill or have been diagnosed with some horrendous illness, and you think, what? How can that be right? What's right about that? Well, as I've said before, we don't know what someone else's soul has chosen to experience. We don't know what it is that they agreed to. And whilst it can look like that's so wrong, that's so cruel, it's a child, the soul is not the age of the child. The soul is way beyond that. And the eternal beauty of the soul is not what you see as the physical. And I understand how difficult that is sometimes when you see some children or you hear of some horrendous thing that's happened with them. But truly, the only place to go at those times is love. The only place. And the only place for that to be really strong is the love from your own soul to that one, to the divine. And therein is one part of our topic tonight, alignment. I'm just going to read your comments before I go on. So, Kat Gray, I definitely don't want to fit in. I'm with you, Kat. Majority of people that are in the spiritual community in my area, toxic. Really interesting, isn't it, Kat? Really interesting. That's why I'm a solo player. Do you mean we heal our family of origin? Yes, Jean, you often will come, if you've come through to a family where there is tremendous amount of lack, of fear, of pain, of suffering, abuse, all of that, a light worker will come through to heal that and to bring that line of pain, if I can put it that way, to an end. It's a big job to sign up for, isn't it? You'd have to wonder why. Yeah, Kat, the children are not, the soul is not the age. We just have to remember that the soul has incarnated into a physical body that must learn how to navigate this life. The soul is infinite. It is not restricted and contained by the physical body, but the mind steps in and starts to create that illusion, create that break where it thinks that this is it and that it's confined by the physical body. And that's where the trouble starts. So harmony is the true resonance of the soul. And within harmony, of course, is pure love, pure joy, harmony. And if you say that word, and even if you use that word in the shower, as you went to bed to go to sleep at night, harmony, and you said the vowels that way, you can feel it move through your body. In doing that, you align with your soul. Harmony is a magnificent word, and our words were not created for no reason. Well, not technically, you know what I mean. The good, there's the great words, there's the soul aligned words, and then there's the other junk, right? But harmony, if you were to say that and even create it into like a mantra tone, you will find you can feel a calibration through your chakras. Remembering that your chakras go front and back and they expand out as infinite as your soul, as your divine self. So when you are harmony and you bring that through, you are setting up your own radio waves and station to the divine to call in your alignment. How magical is that? Harmony, depends how you want to look at it, Kim Jane. That's some of the new age spiritual BS. So we can turn any word into a negative. This world, you know, it's polarity, right? So if that's how we want to see a word, that's how we'll see it. It is quite wrong. Harmony. When I was walking, the time that my business name was shown to me written in the sky, when I asked how they wanted me to be of service in the coming year, and what I heard was heal, and I'm like, oh, really? I already do that. And a bit like, oh, ho hum, bored. And then it was look to the sky. And I looked to the sky, and the words harmonious, enlightened, aligned life were written like a big banner across the sky. So for me, Kim Jane, to have the word harmonious, which is a derivative of harmony, and when you sing it, you can feel it in your chakras. But for me to have that brought to me by the heavens, there's no question for me. Does that make sense to everybody? What do you think about that? So the really important part, I think, Kim, is the way that there's a whole lot of nonsense that goes on in the so-called spiritual communities or whatever, spiritual people. Look, you know that I'm very straightforward. There are so many people out there now that are running 2-day courses, half-day courses, online courses to teach you to become psychic, clairvoyant, medium, read tarots and all the rest of it. When you are naturally gifted, it's because you are called upon, it's because your soul has that eternal requirement of service to humanity. Nobody chooses. I don't care what they say. It is because of my experiences and all of my lifetime experiences. Thank you, Kim Jane. I remember going to a reader a long time ago. In fact, the first one I went to, I was all of 20. And I walked into her little hutch thing, and she sat back at her table and she just looked at me and said, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Oh, hello, I'm sorry. I'd never seen this lady before." And she said, "You shouldn't be here. You don't need to be here. This is quite natural for you." And I'm like, "Well, I came for a reading." And she was so uncomfortable. Then I know about 15 years ago now, I was minding my own business, walking around Fremantle, and it was like somebody took hold of my shoulders, turned me and pushed me towards this door and go into this particular store, and I find myself asking to see the reader. So I get to sit with the reader, and it was a really interesting experience. And she started rattling off Atlantis, Avalon, Lemuria, and I will tell you that at the time, those words meant nothing to me on the physical conscious state. But deep within me, something came alive. And she said, I can't read for you. You've been there at every one of those times. Helen of Troy, the great burning of the witches at the stake. You were there, the Inquisition. And she was so very uncomfortable. So when I talk about these nonsenses that go on, this is why. So the dark side, the grey side even, of these so-called spiritual people going around, they are not the true light, and that's end of story. So teaching people to think differently of words that have always been held sacred, and even down to saying that someone is not a healer. This is also a fallacy. Jesus was a healer. And when you meet an archangel, Raphael, he's a healer. Mother Teresa was a healer. There are so many healers on this earth, the same as we were talking about arriving into a family line where, as a light worker, as a light being, as a divine spark of the Creator, you come to heal that family line. So I really urge you to listen to your soul when you're hearing someone talk about words, breaking words up, making them mean something else, or when they're talking about teaching you to be this gifted person in 2 days or, over a week retreat. Really, really listen with your soul. And harmony is the true resonance of the soul. So to be in harmony within, inside, means truly holding trust in yourself and the divine. Truly being honest, truthful in yourself and in what you say and do. No matter what is going on around you, when you are in harmony, you'll find you feel peaceful and you can feel calm very quickly. Harmony is a really powerful peace. It is very different to anything else when it is the harmony of the soul. And being in alignment is an absolute must. So being in alignment, the soul is eternally a spark of the divine, and the soul is eternal. And that's something else that's in that book, the reference the masters make to the eternalness of the soul. To be at peace with who you are without exception and without expectations. To be aligned is to be connected with your own divinity and the divine. You cannot leave one or the other out, and there can't be glitches and gaps in that union. So to be in alignment is complete unity without exception. And to be aligned with the divine, which for you, for me, as you know, is God. It could be Allah, it could be Buddha, it could be something else for you, as long as you understand what it is that you are calling in as your divine creator. So here are a few things that take us right out of alignment and harmony, and they might surprise you. You tell someone that you can't buy something, join something, go to something. It could be a concert, it could be a retreat, it could be some sort of event, could be a dinner outing, anything. But you say, oh, I can't do that, or I can't go, money's tight, or I haven't got enough money. The other one is telling people that you're sorry you haven't caught up with them, or at work, I haven't done that task because I haven't had enough time, or I'm too busy. So saying to friends, to family, anyone, I'm too busy, or I haven't had enough time. I don't have enough time. And the other beauty that takes us right out of alignment and removes the string of harmony in an instant is to use being sick as an excuse for not going to something that you've said you're going to, for not showing up for work maybe. But, I'm sure you all know people that have had an old injury, for example, a back problem, a hip problem, a woman, bad periods, really bad reflux, they have difficulty with food. And this becomes their go-to when they don't want to do something, when they don't want to go somewhere. So these are excuses. They are not truths. Now, I can hear some of you, but Gwenda, it's not fair. Sometimes, there is something I want to do, I want to buy. I might have even wanted to do one of your courses and I can't afford it. I'm not saying something that's not truthful. When you investigate your relationship with money, when you investigate your real reason of not finding, making, calling in that money, then you'll know what I mean. The 3 easiest excuses to easily pardon ourselves from doing anything, showing up, being our true self is using I'm sick. Oh, that old back injury I've got. Oh, my knee, I had so much trouble with it and it's playing up again. Yeah. Or a good one, my migraines have been really bad. So using sick, or a new favourite that came up in recent years is using your child. Oh, I can't make it. My baby's not well. Oh, I can't turn up. My child's not well. I might have to bring them home from school. Instant out of alignment, out of harmony. There's no way that you can live in harmony with your soul and be in alignment with your soul when you use excuses like being sick, too busy, don't have time, or I don't have enough money, a bit tight at the moment, I can't afford it. So I want you to really think about how you've responded in your body. Have you felt some tightness, as I've said that? Have you gone tight in your chest, your shoulders? Have you been irritated? Have you wanted to defend and go, that's not fair, Gwenda? There was something I was meant to go to, but I really wasn't well. And I'm going to say to you, well, I'm not saying that you weren't well. What I'm going to say is, why did you do that? Because if you have said yes to something that you really didn't want to say yes to, then you will create a circumstance that allows you to be pardoned. And we feel good about being pardoned when we're sick. Nobody's going to question. We feel good if we use money as the excuse to be pardoned, because nobody can ask me, what do you mean you can't afford it? And that's, it's a bit of a taboo topic, so no one's going to question me on that. And too busy, everybody knows we're all busy. So if I say that I've been too busy, couldn't get around to it, hadn't had enough time, everybody accepts that. Maybe so, but your soul doesn't. And neither do your guides. It's almost like you give them an earache. They're like, whoa, that doesn't sit too well. It's like, oh, all the strings of the angels' bows have gone ping, ping, ping. Do you see? So to be in harmony and be in alignment, we must be able to be very, very truthful within ourselves. We must be able to hold ourselves in trust. So many people I work with have difficulties in relationship, difficulties with their money, and it all comes back to trust. So where did that trust issue come from originally? Is it from your upbringing? Is it from a past life? Is it something that you have come to repeat so that you will learn and have the opportunity to expand and grow in this lifetime? Being honest, being truthful to yourself first and foremost. So when you are not being honest by using an excuse to be pardoned, you are first and foremost bringing yourself out of alignment and out of harmony with your soul. Like I said, it's like nails down the chalkboard. It's like an overwound piano wire. Oh, makes a really bad noise in the aura. And for yourself, you can feel it in your body. You know that you've used an excuse to be pardoned. And of course, this is all part of this construct, this world. We are taught these things. We are taught that to tell lies is not the right thing to do, but we're also taught how to get around it. So it's not technically a lie. A white lie? Oh yeah, they're okay. Are they? Are they okay in the soul? So when people want to manifest healing, when they want to manifest a real love in their life, or they want to be able to sit in communion with their guides, with their angels, and they wonder why it's so hard. Because the alignment and the harmony isn't there. The authentic self is not running the show. The fake self, the construct self of this world is running the show. That doesn't work. So when we want healing to take place, we have got to be able to be first and foremost in deep alignment with our true self, in deep alignment with truth, with honesty. Many years ago, I sat in a courtroom for a trial, and it was a charge of murder. The charge was an incorrect charge by the police. And prior to that trial, I sat every day. In fact, I end up writing what I asked every day. And every day I would say it. In the courtroom, I would say a prayer. And I would ask that in God's name, truth be spoken, truth be heard. One day, one of those trial days wasn't very good. And the less than pleasant prosecutor looked like he was winning. So I quietly asked, "Are you with me? With truth to be heard today?" And a light that I cannot describe in a color that you would be able to see in your mind's eye, because we don't have the color here. I'm just going to reference it as golden, but it's not a gold that we see here. Came through the big old limestone wall, there was no windows, big old limestone wall, and went straight across to the person who had been charged, wrongfully charged. And that was the answer to me asking that truth be spoken and heard in the name of God. And that was the answer to me when I said, "Are you here?" The other thing was that the prosecutor had, I can't remember the word they used, coached. It's not the right word, but he had coached the witnesses and basically given them a script. He's going to ask a question and this is what he wants them to say back. And I asked that none of them be able to speak anything but the truth. So I'm talking to their soul, because the soul does not recognize anything less than truth. And on God's Bible, I can put my hand on my heart and say, every one of those witnesses, when I asked that, when they stepped up, they were not able to speak. They coughed, they choked, they couldn't get their words out. And the prosecutor got so angry with them and showed his anger to the point where the judge called him on it. So being in alignment requires you to really know harmony in your soul and know that as a divine being, you are pure and perfect. But the purity is in pure love, pure joy, containment of harmony. And to be aligned to that, there must be a very clear connection to truth, honesty, to yourself, first and foremost. So yes, it was, Kim. It was incredible. I won't repeat. A lady next to me, she actually saw it. We are sitting in a trial, and she said, "What the is that?" And the judge went bash, bash, bash with his gavel and said, "Quiet in the courtroom." And at the recess, she came up to me and she said, "Did you see that? What was that?" And I said to her, "I'm just going to call that God's light." And she said a few more expletives and walked away and said, "Amen." as she walked off. So I was just warmed through my heart that one other person in the courtroom had seen that ray of incredible light. It just lit up the defendant and the square area of wood that he was standing in. Didn't touch anything else, nothing. Yeah, was, Jean, amazing. So using excuses to be pardoned for not going to something, for not paying for something, for not joining something, for leaving something. Say you sign up to do a course and or anything, and then you use money as your pardon, or you're too busy, not enough time, and sick. These things are not authentic, and they are not of the soul. So you've got to really take the time to know you and know what your soul is all about and what that inner harmony, that beautiful harmony feels like. And recognize when you are coming out of alignment, when you are using ways to be pardoned that are not authentic, because the ricochet effect of that is diabolical on your health, on your ability to have abundance, richness, peace, harmony, calm, love, everything that you long for. So really important. I give thanks to Saint Germain for his presence. I give thanks to Saint Germain for bringing this information, for bringing this session to you all this evening, to me at the beach. It's been lovely, and I hope that it has been inspiring or inspirational for you. I hope that it's brought some new awareness for you and for you to think more about living in harmony and alignment so that this life becomes that peaceful and joyous life that you really do want. Yes, it was a blessing. Thanks, Kim. Sure was. And the prosecution failed. Person was acquitted as they should have been. They should never, ever have been arrested and gone on. The impact of that, however, has taken a great toll, and that person is continuing to heal through that. Oh, that's a pleasure. Thanks, Kat. The energy, Kat, I think the message and the energy, for me, harmony and alignment is the be all and end all. And to share the different things, it's a privilege, and it's a deeply humbling privilege. So, and I thank you all for being here. And again, our love to those who will be watching after. And to everyone else tonight, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to be here and share with me and hear the messages from Saint Germain. So with much love, I'll say good night and look forward to seeing you all next week. Next week, yes, we do have a public holiday coming up. I think that's the first week of March, but we'll check that. As far as I know, I'm here next week. Thank you, Kim Jane. Thank you, Kat Gray, everyone for being here. Much love to you all. Good night.